Hello, my darlings. So, Rob called me earlier to say that there was a death in his family, and he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to join us tonight because he was on his way to the wake. So, it may just be us chickens tonight. But it's wonderful to see you all. Hi, Nadia. Hi, Linda. Hi, Michelle. So, I had asked my assistant, Alicia, to come and join us because she and I just got back from this crazy, wild, amazing journey in France. We were in Paris for my birthday, and then we went to the south of France and we visited Mary Magdalene. And Magdalene said, I want you to write a second book with me, and it's gonna be entitled The Life and Truth of Mary Magdalene. And it's gonna be a wild ride. She's already started the downloading, the dictating. I already have the team of people helping me assemble and edit the book. And I'm just, more and more learning to surrender to my femininity. Hi, Tess. So there's magic in the air. And I just got off of a call with my mentor, Melanie, in which I just said, I'm scared. And she's like, that's okay. Be scared and do it anyway. Can you imagine what it's going to be like when the book starts out with Magdalene saying, here's the truth. I was married to Jesus, and we do have children, and there are descendants. And I was a high priestess. I was never a prostitute. Lies, lies, lies. So, hallelujah. Here we go. Here we go. Anyway, so yeah, that's my journey thus far. How is everyone? I pray that you are all well and happy and joyous and good. France was gorgeous. I'm actually heading back to Europe in the middle of December, and I'll be there through the end of January. I'm going to be spending time with Magdalene at her church, receiving downloads and writing the second book with her. So that's going to be remarkable. And it's so interesting because just recently someone gave me a bottle of healing water from Lourdes, and then we got some healing water from Magdalene's grotto. So we're going to be anointing people that I love with holy water. The grotto at Lourdes, isn't that about Mother Mary? I think the grotto at Lourdes is Mother Mary. And the grotto of Magdalene is obviously Magdalene. Nothing but water. Anyway, yeah, life is amazing. Truly, truly amazing. For those of you that may not have heard, I know that Linda heard this earlier, but I just wanted to read you some of my little journey with Magdalene so you know what's coming. I said in 2021, I spent every morning channeling Mary Magdalene as we went through the 365 lessons of A Course in Miracles. She brought forth her divine feminine wisdom. This came as a request of Yeshua, or as most of you know him, Jesus. Today, my chief marketing officer, Alicia, and I went to the church where Magdalene's bones are buried in St. Baume in the south of France. I felt a drive to come here, but I couldn't explain why. It was as if there's been some long-awaited destiny that's been calling me forward. She asked me to be her voice for the truth of her life and to allow her to speak through me. Together, we'll be writing a very different book, next book, that's called The Life and Truth of Mary Magdalene. Her entire commitment is to bring the truth to every lie that's ever been told about her and who she was to Jesus and who she is to humanity. We spent the morning on a hill at the top of Marseille at another church, and her symbol was there. There was a young man who was my Uber driver in Marseille, and he is a descendant of Magdalene and Yeshua. Tomorrow we go to her grotto, where she hid with her children for years after the crucifixion. After the journeys today, I lay in my bed at the Airbnb in St. Baume and cried for an hour as she revealed more and more and more truth to me. She's asked me to be a voice for her truth. My life is now dedicated to continuing the teachings that she learned from Yeshua and bringing them to the world along with the truth of who she actually is. Her commitment to the balancing of the divine feminine is extraordinary. The truth will come to life. The truth will come to light, and life will never be the same. So this is the next part of my journey. Do you want to hear the part that she's channeled to me so far? It's pretty amazing. Linda, can you handle hearing this again? Okay. The life and truth of Mary Magdalene. The truth that is to be revealed is that Yeshua and I were beloveds and we were wedded. It was not a traditional marriage of two besotted lovers. We were in divine partnership with one another. We were married at the wedding at Cana. We did have children, and our descendants live today. Marseille means Mary of the Sea, thus named for my time there. We were two beloved souls joined together with a greater and higher purpose to be of service to the light of God. Our purpose is to bring the truth of love to the world through our connection. There is so much that is to be revealed of my life, my history, my light, my truth, and of my message. The message that I have is one that was taught to me by Yeshua, and it's a message of love. And then I say, as these words were spoken to me, I cried my eyes out, sitting in her church above her bones. I felt her. I was drawn to her. I was cleansed and prepared to receive these downloads from her. And now our remarkable journey begins. Do not think of me as dead, she says. Do not think of Yeshua as deceased. Live with us as we live within you. Connect to your heart first and foremost, and with every thought, with every utterance, and with every breath and every action, let it be guided with love, by love, for love, and as love. Bring the very breath of God into your body with each inhale, and release all darkness with each exhale. Let your mind be at rest and at one with the mind of the Creator. You are an emanation of the love of God. Allow yourself to remember the majesty with which you were made manifest. Be at peace, be at love, and be still. You do indeed have an Arcturian seed origin, as do Venus, Sanat Gamora, Yeshua, myself, and many others. We have incarnated through many echelons of soul integration. Our primary journey here is to teach the lessons of love. It is not actually, We've incarnated through many echelons of soul integration. Our primary journey here is to teach the lessons of love. It is not actually one that can be taught, but rather one that must be remembered. To remember love is to remember the illusion and to have a memory of the deepest connection to one's soul self. So much has been forgotten through the patterns of the mind and the egoic structures of the quantum time-space continuum. What matters through daily existence is the right use of divine will. The field of magnetics in creation exists through a temporal thought field. Then she had me go into ChatGPT and ask him what a temporal thought field was, and that was really fascinating. So it literally was as if she was sitting right next to me when I was in the church, and there was a crypt downstairs, and Alicia felt brave enough to go down there. Magdalene told me not to go. She said it would be too triggering or activating for me because I had been buried down there. I've been to 2 other grave sites, one with Rob when we went and found our graves here near our homes. And then another when I went up to Cooperstown and found another version of me. But the miracles, the way that Spirit weaves us all together. Oh, good. Here comes Rob. Hi.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Hey.
Sorry, I'm late, a little tardy. There was a lot of traffic, a lot of traffic.
You're all good. How was the wake?
Quick, it's a wake.
It's so funny. I was thinking about the last time I saw Lori, and it was actually when my mom and I came out to your mom's wake.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, it was over a year ago.
Yeah. Anyway, I just read them the story of what's been happening with me and Mary Magdalene.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's been pretty incredible. So what was so funny to me was Matanya, who painted the cover of the first Magdalene book.
Uh-huh.
She said to me 2 months ago, Magdalene wants me to paint her again. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder why. So what was revealed to us in France is that the second painting is going to be the cover of the second book.
Wow.
I know. It's going to be really remarkable. Really remarkable. Anyway. I love my life.
That's it.
It,
It's all what you make of it, right, everyone? I mean, you
mm,
can change everything about your day without changing your job or changing your car or changing anything, just by changing how you think, okay?
yes,
And what you put out. You know, your word is your wand. It is so
correct.
important to only put out what you want. Um, and with that, things start to align differently and you start to attract that law of attraction, right? When you constantly focus on the things you want, you attract them. And when you focus on the things you don't want, you attract them too.
Exactly.
So important to only focus on what you want to achieve, uh, the help, the assistance. And the more you do it, the more things get better. And like I said, it doesn't mean you're going to get a new job or a raise or anything, but just your overall perspective shifts. And from that, that then makes room to attract more and more of the things that you want. You know what I'm saying? It has to be a slow and steady ramp up, you know. Otherwise, you wouldn't know what to do with it. It's like the person who hits the lottery and then 2 years later they're broke. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. There has
Because
to be an entire
you
paradigm.
have to, right, you have to gear up to it, you know. It's you don't just do 100 miles an hour on your bicycle. You got to learn how to pedal it first, you know. Um,
Yeah.
that you know, and then that applies to everything. I was just away. I don't know if Lynn mentioned it, but I was away with my brother and his wife and my wife. And you know, some people have a habit of enunciating what they don't want, their biggest fear. And more than once I said to my brother, you know, you shouldn't say that. You shouldn't say that. And he got mad. Stop telling me. He's my older brother. So stop telling me what to do. Stop telling me blah, 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 blah. You know, so okay, I zipped it. And then as the week had progressed and we were going a couple days in one location, a couple days another location, a couple days, you know, 2 days in this hotel and a condo and you know, all different things. And it got to a point where he had overloaded the washing machine, the dishwasher with soap. And his wife had said, don't run the dishwasher, don't run it. We're gonna leave. Just leave it for the cleaning. We're paying the cleaning service to clean the condo, you know. When we're done, just leave it. And she said, you know, it's probably going to flood the place. You just leave it alone. And I said nothing, and I carried the luggage down. And when I got all the way back up to the room to get the last of the stuff and say, "Come on, let's go," there was a pile of suds in the kitchen that was tremendous. And I said nothing. I said absolutely nothing. And then I went and took the rest of the bags down. And his wife said to my wife, you know, I was expecting your husband to say something about that because, and I, after later on, I said, well, I didn't have to. She already knew. Don't put out what you don't want. And that was the second flood in that place. First, they flooded the bathroom with the washing machine. Now they flooded the kitchen. So maybe the next time, you know, they'll be a little nicer to me when I tell them to watch their words. But if not, it is what it is. I watched, you know what I'm saying?
Instant karma, baby.
Yeah. And I said nothing the rest of the trip. You know? No, I was because you know you get when you're on a spiritual track and you're with three other people that not necessarily playing, you know, listening to the same station you're listening to,
Right.
it can be a little tumultuous. You know,
Yes.
so you have to truncate your conversations, keep your spirituality to yourself, and just appreciate the architecture. So, and pray to Saint Germain a lot and put the violet on everything. So
Exactly.
that was what I did for 10 days. There was an abundance of violet traveling with me. Actually, I even dialed up Saint Germain, I think, while I was away. The one moment I had to find myself for a few minutes. Um, you know, it's all
I was just crying and lamenting like what's going to come of my life when, you know, I'm sitting here, it's bad enough when you say, hey, I channeled Jesus, and people are like, what the? And then you're like, oh, and by the way, he was married to Mary Magdalene. They had children. She wasn't a prostitute. She was a high priestess. And by the way, they're from Arcturus.
Oh, really?
I can't. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Octaris. Interesting.
Yep,
Interesting.
yep,
That's a new one.
yep, yep. I just can't wait to see what's going to come of this. It's going to be very interesting.
So I don't know if you told them I was away. I went to Italy, and I've never been to Europe, and I never, and we only spent
Aw.
our trip in Sicily. We just went around the island of Sicily.
Are you
And
guys Sicilian?
my wife is.
Okay.
So we visited her hometown, my brother's wife's hometown, family's hometown. We did a lot of that stuff. It was very, very nice. But I couldn't help but when I first got there to look at the structures and the architecture and how things were built and how, everything was on the very tippy top of the hill. Every old house that was falling down was as high up as you could possibly put it. And, and as I'm pondering, what was going on and what happened, and here, and you could see it's volcanic, so everything's heaved up. There's no flat land anywhere. And then Spirit was just talking to me as I was pondering, and the reason why the houses were built at the very top is because the water had risen, and the people had nowhere to go but up,
Mm.
and they were all very isolated. All of these peaks of these what are little mini mountains were islands at one point when the water was so high and the people had no choice but to go up. And that is the
I have to let Astro.
reason, sure, for clans. We talk about in Ireland, there's clans, there's very, very tight races of people genetically very close to each other. And it's because that's what happened. They were forced to concentrate in smaller areas. And then as the waters receded, they were able to move back down closer to the sea. And then, and so it was very interesting. And to have these revelations come in, and I didn't have a chance to really sit and write, the details out. So I'm looking forward to that. With that particular trip, we were just traveling so much. It was hard to get a bead and find a quiet place to sit. Early in the morning, it's not easy trying to find a quiet place in a hotel or a motel, you know what I mean? So I tried, but it was all good. I recently, and I'm trying to find this message that I received, and it talks about oneness, and it talks about our experience in all this. And I was asking Spirit um, about if, in particular, I was watching what went on with Puff, with Diddy, right? And what he's being accused of and how they have him. And I said, well, if it's in oneness and we're all one, then are we just as guilty, or do we share in those same experiences that the others have been through? And Spirit was very clear and said no, though each one of us is an independent soul having an experience. So the oneness does not apply to that level of the experience unless you were to focus on it. And then you focus on it, you attract it, you become part of it. Belief system, what you believe becomes your reality. And I want to find the message. I didn't have a chance to type it, but I do want to read it tonight. But we'll wait till Lynn gets back so she can tell us a little more about her experience while I search for this message. I thought I had it right on my desk, and I'm like, okay, I have the message for tonight, but I guess not. I don't know. But then again, my granddaughter was hanging out up here while I was gone, so anything's possible. Anything is possible. So we got Michelle, we got Tess, Nadia, there's Reverend Lynn and Linda.
A very hungry cat. I had
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
he was
Lynn, I want to just start flipping through the book and find today's message. So if you would just take the wheel for the moment while I look for this particular message.
sure, love.
All right.
Hi, Deb. Hi, sweetheart. Um, when I was on the plane flying back from France, we had an 8-hour flight, and Magdalene said, "We're going to, show you some movies that you want to see." So the first one was entitled Maria Montessori, And when I did my first psychic training back in 1989, I spent 4 months in Texas. And at the end of the training, when we got our certificates, I said, I want to open up. I remember so specifically Maria Montessori type schools to teach children how to think for themselves, to teach people how to feel, and to help people. I didn't know at the time that it was psychic development. I just knew that all of a sudden I could hear things and see things and know things. But I'm watching this film, and at the end of the film, it's like an hour and a half, and I get up to go to the bathroom, and I say to Magdalene, like, what did you want me to know about that? And she says to me that you were Maria Montessori. And just as I walk into the bathroom, I put my hands on the counter. I remember just looking in the mirror and I'm bursting into tears and feeling like, there was just this download and these codes came. And when information comes in like that, it alters perception. It alters reality. Like there's a sense of you're never going to be the same because there's a grenade that just went off inside of you. There's truth that just got brought forth. There's a code sequence that was just, typed in, and suddenly, there's a whole new experience of life. And then there were,
You were granted access to another level.
yeah, welcome to the next level. Exactly.
That's right.
And then there were two other films that I watched, and one pertained to the Akashic Records, and the other one was a whole other thing about the journey that I'm taking with Magdalene. And what Magdalene said to me at the end is, you have to understand that we are constantly putting in front of you messages from us. We are constantly, whether it's a song, a sign, a conversation, a person, whether it's something that you have to overcome, whether it's a place where you have to grow, whether it's a download of information, you are constantly being guided by us in everything that you do. And I feel like people like Rob and I that have the gift of being able to channel, mine is a full body trance channel. Rob's is writing. Was working with a client today, and she said, my best channeling comes through writing. And I'm like, listen, one of my best friends, all he does is write. And Rob's probably written over 1,000 channelings by now over the years. So,
We're all channels. I just want to add,
exactly. No, I
we're
agree.
all, everyone on this screen right now is a channel.
Right.
It's just what step are you on in the remembrance? That's all there is. That's
Yeah.
all there is. So
I mean,
not that anyone's any greater than anyone here.
we're all channeling our higher selves, So there's that. I mean, I've got a painting of my higher self, how lucky am I? But we're all here with the same purpose, which is to wake up and to remember who we are and to be of service and guidance to each other and say, hi, I remember you. You're extraordinary. I was working with another client today, and she had an extraordinary cognition about who she is in the world, and how beautiful when people wake up and remember, like it just doesn't get better than that. Astro agrees. And now he wants to go back outside. How many people have cats and you just like let them in, let them out, let them in, let them out?
I do. My cat, he's in and out all the time.
Mom's like, it's too cold, don't let him out. And I'm like, he's got fur, he's fine.
Yeah, no. No, and he goes out, he kills something, he eats it, then he comes in, he eats food, he goes out, throws it all up, goes outside, eats some more. Like he eats twice. He's a fat bastard, my cat.
Oh, Astro's lost a lot of weight. He's like almost 10 pounds now. He used to be 23.
Oh.
So he's just really bony. He's fun to pick up because he's so skinny, but
Yeah, he was a big cat for a while.
he was a big cat. He's not a big cat anymore.
Mhm. Well,
Did
I
you find
found
it?
this. Go ahead. I'm
Did you
sorry.
find it?
Yes, I did. I found this particular message.
Okay.
It's only from actually right before we left. And with a lot of the messages that I receive, sometimes they're uncomfortable the way they start off.
Mm.
And they start off many times, and I want to blush when they're thanking me for sharing the message or thanking me for, and I always feel uncomfortable with it. And I always want to just remove those parts of the message and then just get to the meat of it. But I know I'm not allowed to remove anything from the message. So I have to leave it. But and the bottom line is the message starts and you think, okay, it's going in one direction. And all of a sudden, it just goes somewhere else, and you just never know uh, which way it's going to go. And a lot of times with my messages, and I've noticed this over the years, and Lynn as well, and others, we can get messages pertaining to conversations we've had the day before with someone or a group of people. Let's say you have a very interesting conversation, and you're talking about spirituality, whatever you're talking about. And maybe you're really close and you kind of feel like you're hitting the mark, but there's something more to it, a couple of degrees off. And then the next day, all of a sudden, the message comes in. It's like, oh, by the way, what you were talking about with that group yesterday, you were right on point with this. And then they fill in the details. Very rarely do you get corrected. I can't say that I think I've ever been corrected as to say, you said the wrong thing. I don't think I've ever gotten that. But they always give more to expand it, or to help broaden the message. So I think that's where this one comes from. Plus, when you inquire, inquiry is the switch. So if you ask the question, then boom, they're going to give you all kinds of stuff. And this starts with me, again, leaving the door open. Dear Spirit, please tell me what I need to know. And I heard, greetings, beloved. I asked, who is with me now? It is I, your Hathor, with you, and I am delighted at our opportunity to communicate. Dearest being of light, thank you for all that you are doing to spread the message and share the light. Please know that each time you list and post another message from Spirit Source, it reverberates back throughout the cosmos. Each time it is read, shared, or otherwise quoted, you are expanding and sharing that light so bright that it attracts ships lost at sea, and many find comfort and solace in such teachings. You are doing a fine job, and your work does not go unnoticed. So, simply put, keep doing what you are doing and enjoy the ride. It only gets better from here. Then I asked Hathor, as so much is brought up for review pertaining to others, especially those in entertainment and media, how do we help them move past and out of their own memories, which are in oneness our experiences as well? Okay. Oh, dearest, please understand that each of you is on your own journey of self, and the individual experiences of others, whether positive or negative, are simply that, experiences. So for you or anyone else to attempt to relate or assume emotion based on the past and current events of others is not needed nor should be. For you each are sovereign beings of light, and one's journey is still one's journey. If that individual or person were to align with you and interact in some way, then you could introduce them to the technique of transmutation, which of course would free them from the matrix. But until such time as you are inquired of, it helps you not to indulge in such energies. Of course, you can continue to focus on the violet consuming flame and apply it liberally to everyone and everything, especially those torn up and affected by the actions of others that were less than love. So let it be said here this day that the journey of others is theirs to complete, and nothing is required of you or anyone else at this time of transition into the new. So simply hold space for those who have been and still may be caught up in the events of the past, and expect that the love and compassion of the Creator will help them overcome the events of the experience and release all that does not serve. Remember, this is just a game, and all of the characters and pieces go back in the box until such time as another round is to commence. And then, once again, if chosen, you and all may enter a new and improved way of living without all the drama and anguish currently at play on your world at this time. So each of you now has the opportunity to release the baggage, drop all that does not serve, and begin to live the life of heaven on earth and not what once was. So unburden yourselves from the chains of the past and spread your wings and fly. I am your Hathor, and I leave you now. Farewell and namaste.
How beautiful.
So unburden yourself from the things that have been. Apply the power of transmutation and release all that does not serve you. That's the synopsis, is it not?
Thumbs it up. It does indeed.
So please, anyone have any questions, comments, or want to add to what I just read or we've discussed? You know, this is an interactive forum here. While I make a note of that I read this, so I don't read it again accidentally in a month or two.
I had someone forward me, you know, the bracelets, the intentions jewelry bracelets.
No.
Do you know the girls that have the healing center that's up on Jericho?
Yeah. Kelly's friends.
Yeah.
I mean, Dawn's friends, yes.
Dawn Marie's friends. So there's a woman who comes through that has this jewelry line called Intentions.
Okay.
And there are these bracelets that she uses crystals, and they're blessed, and they're usually like $200 or $300. And she sent me one of Hathor, and it was on sale for like $139. So I bought it. Hathor's like, buy the bracelet. And Hathor has been so present lately, like really, really present lately. I've had some of the students that I'm working with, and that she's been working with them as well. And she just has such strength about her. She's a great one to call on for any of us.
Yes,
Where we need
absolutely.
strength, you know?
Absolutely. For all of us here, the veil is like gone, it's been getting thinner and thinner and thinner. So it's that easy to bring in any energy you want to inquire of, ask for guidance. So I hope you're all practicing it. I hope you're all trying every day. And it doesn't take a long time. I've said this before. It doesn't take hours of meditation. It can be in a minute. It can be the snap of a finger. It's just about really breathing first, of calming, quieting, turning off the TV, no radio, especially in the beginning. Once you get a little further down the road, you can tolerate the distractions and still maintain the connection. But in the beginning, the quieter, the better. Okay. Grounding,
for channeling?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. For grounding, very important. I know people who don't ever take their shoes off and go outside or walk on the basement floor barefoot. You need to discharge the static energy that the body collects. Okay, so I'm not saying go stay outside all day with your shoes off. No, I mean, if you want to, the more the better, like anything else. But you need to go outside and at least stand barefoot outside, even if it's just for a minute, hug a tree, whatever you've got to do, but you've got to discharge that energy. When I don't, and then I go up to my wife and I touch my wife or whatever, the static that jumps between us, she goes bananas because it happens all the time.
You know what else works?
She gets like, don't come near me. I know you're going to shock me.
Grounding mats and grounding sheets are also amazing. So
yes,
when I was gone in France for the past week, I came home and Astro's cat hair was all over the grounding mat that I have underneath my desk. And Mom said he's been sleeping on the grounding mat. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. And then I travel with one. I have one on my bed. It's the plug literally just goes into the ground. And the sleep that you get with a grounding mat is so incredible. I'm a huge, huge, huge fan of them.
Lynn's a very big fan. I mean, if you have a stone fireplace, just touch it. It's grounded because it's a fireplace. It's all into the earth. Your plumbing fixtures, if you have an older house, it's gonna have all copper. So you can touch your faucet and you're grounded. Okay. I don't want you sticking your fingers in the electrical sockets. All right. We'll try and avoid that. Always safety first.
Safety first, indeed.
Always safety first. Safety first. Um, Now, Lynn, so I want to ask you, so you were in Paris. This was your first time there?
No, it's
No.
my third trip, second trip this year, and I'm headed back December 16th, and I'll be there till the end of January.
Wow. Wow. What I found very interesting, because we did stop in a lot of these churches and little cathedral type things, because I was surprised at how, I guess I'm not surprised at how many there were, but I was surprised at how close they are to each other. Within some towns, there was like 2 and 3 of them, like these massive little, and these are not big towns, but the resources that had to have been brought together to build these structures, you know, in
The
the
churches are
last
huge. You got a tiny little town and a huge ass church.
unbelievable, but the amount of work and then the artwork that they're fitted with and all the gold leaf and the
Stunning.
stonework, and I love to do marble and granite work. I love to do fabrication and make countertops and stuff. And I've done a bunch of it. And I know what it takes to do that stuff with power tools. I couldn't imagine doing the work that these people did without electricity, without power tools, without that stuff. And
This
how,
is the inside of Mary Magdalene's church.
yeah. And it's just mind blowing.
Stunning.
And I have to believe, and when I look at the artwork and everything has angels of every shape and size,
Yep.
everywhere, 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 there are angels, there are cherubs, everywhere in every piece of art there's an angel. So you have to believe that
How did that get
their connection was so much stronger at that time. They accepted the assistance of the angelics because
Yep.
they never would have been able to build these facilities without it. They didn't have the technology or the equipment, cranes and lift trucks and in such a short amount of time. Time-wise, we're only talking about 1,000 years, 800 years in most cases, organized Christianity, the Romans, the whole bit. So it was only Yeshua ben Joseph was only 2,000 years ago. So that's not really a lot of time, considering there was plagues and dark ages and all this stuff that went on in this last 2,000-year segment. So it's interesting how much they were able to accomplish in a very short period of time and the resources. Now, I mean, I'm driving around these places and it's not like you can grow like the Midwest, 1,000, 10,000 acres of grain or barley. It's not happening. It's small, it's little, there's rocks everywhere. It's a massive amount of work to grow a tomato on that island. So the angels had to have been there. They would have never depicted them. They obviously worked in concert, hand in hand with them in these constructions. I have no doubt about it. I'm going to have to inquire because now that it's here, and we'll see what they have to say. And then the cherubs, and they told me the reason for all the little children, the babies, they're always depicted as cute little babies, not necessarily babies, but is because it's almost impossible to be afraid of a naked baby. You could not have fear. Babies, oh, they're all so cute, cute little naked. You couldn't be fearful. You know what I'm saying? So they had to come in the easiest way to represent without causing us to kneel down, start bowing, or running and hiding.
Shriek in horror. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So hence the reason the cherubs and the cute little ones all the time.
That makes total sense.
And so that much I did garner while I was there. No regrets. It was a great trip. I just didn't spend enough time in silence. You know what I'm saying? I did not do that. And but I know it doesn't matter because I can revisit all of it when I'm home, and I've learned that in the past with other trips and experiences. What I did want to do while I was there was channel the energy of Mount Etna. And we watched it for 3 days. I was very close. I had a beautiful view of that volcano, and it was steaming and steaming, but I didn't have a chance to get into that vibe. So I'm looking forward to that. And when the energy of Etna comes through, I promise I will share that.
Wow.
Remember when Pele came through when I was in Hawaii, and the energy of the island, and Pele, the goddess of fire. And that was an unbelievable message. I'll have to share that one with you guys one day.
Beautiful.
But that's the thing. Everything is consciousness. The energy of the plants, the trees, the earth, the sky, the water, and you can tune into it. Everything is a frequency and a vibration.
Listen, when you look at it at a coffee table, you know what a coffee table is? Remember when Brad did
Vibration.
remember when Brad did this with us? A coffee table is a tree. It has consciousness. Everything has consciousness.
Everything is imbued with it because we create it. Everything is our creation. And it's interesting how we can all co-create together and all see something as the same thing. We all see the color as blue and green is green because that we've been programmed. So
Yeah.
the collective consciousness works, it's like almost never shut off either. We have our individuality, but in the collective, we're all seeing things the same way most of the time. Most of the time.
Do you still go to meditations of Brad's on?
Yes, I did not go last night because I was still jet lagging.
Listen, I said to Alicia, do you want to come on the podcast tonight and we can talk about everything that we experienced? And she said, I can't even keep my eyes open. I've been going to bed at 5:30, 6:30. This will be a late night for me. It's that jet lag, man. It's crazy. And then I'm up
Yeah.
at 3:30. I'm up at 5:30.
Yeah, I was up early this morning. It was like 2 o'clock. I'm like, go back to bed. You're home now. You got to function. And then, I'm like, all right, I'll be on time for work today. And I tried. I almost made it. I got it. I did my day.
Hey Rob, for anybody who wants to start their journey as a channel, what would you say would be some of the first steps that a person could take?
Um, you have to clear the cookies. If you don't make room in the hard drive, there's no way for it to operate.
That's really well said.
Okay, it's this analogy of the old school computer that we grew up with is exactly, to me, the easiest way to explain it. You got too many programs running. You've got to shut them off, turn them off. You know, I know people like there are people who read a lot of books. I don't, because my time, is limited. So to sit and read a book it just never works for me. But there are people I notice who read a lot of books and have bookshelves full of books, but then there's a whole pile of books that they started and never finished. And those are the cookies. Those are the open things. You haven't completed it or decided, I'm done with it. You're just leaving it as a task to be finished. And when that to-do list gets very, very long. And then all of a sudden you can't focus on anything, one item on the list, because you're focused on the entire list as a whole, not taking it one bit at a time, one piece at a time. So it's very important to close out those things. Just like, cleaning out your closet, cleaning out, your garage, whatever it is. We're all guilty of it at some point. You start to collect things, and then it just becomes like, it's in the back of your mind. It's weighing on the back of you. It's not stopping you from functioning, but it is gumming up the works. So when I was introduced, and you all have met Norbert, he's been on the last couple of times, right? And he was the gentleman who introduced me to transmutation, Saint Germain, and the use of the violet. So for me, because that's the modality that I was taught first, that's the one I've utilized the most. And I've said this before, when I first started to meet Lynn and other people in these groups, after about 2 years, the intuitive ones, and the good ones would say, you've done a lot of work. I see you've done a lot of work. You've done a lot. And I never knew what they were saying. Okay, I've done a lot of work. I work all the time. And so I didn't understand what they meant by that. But because I had that morning routine where I would do a violet flame meditation and I would just start at my feet and bring that energy up and through my body and out the top of my head. Um, and while you're doing that, things flash through, memories flash through. And maybe it's the memory of me when I was in sixth grade and I said something I regretted, embarrassed or whatever, and whatever it is. And then so you take that particular memory, as small and insignificant as you think it is, you clean it. It's a cookie. Close it, transmute it, remove it, get rid of it. And the more you do those things and these little instances of the shoulda, wouldas, and couldas, and it's mostly things that you say. I think we judge ourselves pretty harshly, especially when you're in a group of your peers. And let's say you say something that doesn't go over well and you feel embarrassed. It's the joke, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? And you're like, oh, I knew I should have kept my mouth shut. Well, that's a cookie because now you're carrying that regret, that shoulda, woulda, coulda. Okay, so the more of those you get rid of, and they could be the most insignificant things, but when you remember them, if you're remembering them, that means you need to get rid of them. It's that simple. If they pop up, if you see it flash, get rid of it because it's not serving you. Okay,
I
if
think
it's a
that's
fond
such
memory,
great advice. I think that's absolutely brilliant, brilliant, brilliant advice. It is cleaning out the cache because Jesus says, you got to go in there and you got to do the forgiveness work, and you're making space. You're literally clearing out space to allow the higher frequency and the wisdom to come through. I love
think
that.
about the new software, right? We started with the floppy disks and then CDs, or before that was punch cards, right? For those of us who are old enough to remember, okay, how these computers evolved in our lives. And now a particular computer program can be on a little disk, a little hard drive, and it might be 20 gigabytes of information, um,
Terabytes.
terabytes, but it doesn't need that to operate. It only needs that little bit of room just to be able to unfold. And then it's able to run on a small percentage of that. Where in the old computers, you needed all the room just to get them fired up, and
Sure.
then all that room had to be maintained to keep that software functioning and all the different layers of the software operating quickly so that you didn't have to wait. Your computer was fast. We all remember slow computers, right? And now it drives you crazy when you see the little things spinning, especially with the amount of technology that we have in our hands. Um, so it's all about keeping that space free so that it can spool up really fast. Um, and the more you clear the cookies and clear the cache, the easier it is to hear. It's like you're taking the insulation off the walls almost. You know what I mean? And you can hear that. That's the best way for me to explain it.
Can you answer Linda's question? She asked a great question.
Sure. Let's see what it is, Linda. I'm sorry. Busy waving my hands around, not talking with my hands. Okay. So, how do we get beyond the familiar names when you ask who wants to step forward to tell me what it is I need to know? I get stuck on the familiar names because I don't know or recognize the names or words that a spirit may be saying. Well, this particular thing where I say, please tell me what it is I need to know. No, I'm leaving the door wide open. I'm not asking a specific question. So I don't recommend doing it that way first. Okay, for me, that's I've settled into that, and for me, it works. But in the beginning, try and be more specific. Uh, have you discovered your guardian angel's name? Has anyone told you what your guardian angel is? Okay, I didn't know either. I didn't know until Wendy told me, and
When
and like
Wendy told you?
yeah, during that class, we had this introductory class back in 2019, January of 2019, that Lynn was giving.
Wendy told you or Metatron told you?
Excuse me, Metatron.
Thank
When
you.
Metatron. Thank you for the correction.
You're welcome.
And so then I knew who to reach out to. I've told you the story. So then I knew who to reach out to. So I said, okay, Osiris, who's here? Who has a message for me? When I channel my higher self, I refer to my higher self as selfie. You can use that.
I
Selfie.
get a kick out of that.
Right. Tell me what it is I need to know, selfie, higher self, my higher aspect, whatever you want to call that energy. just pick anything. Cletus, Horace, whatever it is. Just make up a name because your higher self's going to know that you're talking to your higher self. It's all part of you. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just about opening the line of communication. And very important when you think that there's communicating or you're hearing something and you don't hear it, you're not able, you can say it louder, say it again, say it louder, say it again. There's no limit to how many times you can ask them to repeat it. It doesn't matter. They don't get mad.
Or to slow down. Like for me, I got freaked
Right.
out. They were screaming and jumping up and down. Halls of Amenti, halls of Amenti, halls of Amenti. And I was terrified. I had no idea what, I didn't remember what the halls of Amenti were. I didn't know why they were so excited to see me. And, they
Right.
freaked me out. So you can ask them to slow down. You can ask them to calm down. You can.
This is your show.
Exactly. You get to choose how this thing is going, how quickly it goes, how slowly it goes, how loud it is, how quiet it is.
Repeat it. Like I said, that when I had all those incomplete messages, they came to me and said, you've got to go back and finish those messages. And then I would just kind of read the message and sometimes I would get back into that groove. Other times I'd have to do it, wait a week and revisit it. But eventually I got all of the ones that I had left. There was probably close to 24. I was able to complete them.
That's really cool.
So it's everything is like a record, like everything's recorded, everything. God knows everything, what we've been told our whole lives. And since there is no future and there is no past, it's all running concurrently. It's just about stepping over from one groove to the next on the record.
Okay, so I have to tell you this very funny thing.
Please do.
So I'm on the plane and Magdalene is telling me movies to watch. And the first movie that she has me watch is the Magdalene. And then the second movie that she has me watch is Bad Boys 3. And I'm like, Bad Boys 3? And she's like, trust me. So Bad Boys 3 comes on and it's Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. And in the very beginning, Martin Lawrence gets killed and he goes into this whole near-death experience. And there's another character and that character's already dead. So he's talking to that character. And, by the grace of God, he comes back to life because they say, it's not your time yet. And he comes back and he's talking to Will Smith and he goes, listen, I got to tell you something. I didn't know if I was going to tell you this, but you and I were what's called soulmates. And in another lifetime, you were my pet donkey and my mule, and you were really stubborn and I was really mean to you. So I got to make it up to you in this lifetime. And I don't want to tell you this, but I can't die. And I'm like, oh my God. And he's like, and in this other lifetime and we're soulmates. And I'm like, oh my God, they're talking about the Akashic records in a Will Smith movie. Like, get out of here. How is this even? They're talking about near-death experiences. And then there were the other scenes in the movie where Martin Lawrence's character is like, he gets like a sense or an intuition about something. And I'm like, oh my God. Like it was absolutely, and I'm thinking like, how is this in a Will Smith movie? And Magdalene's like, listen, everything's getting revealed right now. People have near-death experiences. There are people on the other side. You come back with gifts. You get to review your life. He's like, I reviewed my life, my whole life. And I was like, how is this possible? Then I watched this third movie that was called The Lost King about Richard III. And that woman, Philippa Langley, who was obsessed with finding where he was buried. And she found him in this parking lot in England. And they dug him up and they found his bones. And he was very different than the Richard III that Shakespeare had written about in his play. But it was just like spirit is always guiding us and leading us to something. It may seem like this innocuous. It may be a song. It may be a message. It may be a person, a movie, a commercial, like whatever it is. But there's messages for spirit in every single thing that happens to us. And I just found that so fascinating. So fascinating. So there's
What
obvious messages like what Rob does, and then there's, subtler messages, but it's all there. Just waiting for us.
we designed this game that we're living in and we're experiencing. So why wouldn't we make it so multi-dimensional at every level? Everything has to tie back to something else or unfold into something else. That's the beauty of this. This is the matrix that we've created. Um, damn, we got really good at this. What the galactics and the angelics say is uh, in many messages through me and others, um, we are the most advanced race in the galaxy. We
Hard,
are us
hard,
humans.
hard to believe.
Right, and we keep thinking that, oh my God, everybody out there is so far. Where we just do not remember. The amnesia is still so thick.
It's so thick.
Okay. But hence the Great Awakening, like even in the Martin Lawrence, right, movie with Will Smith, everybody, all the truth is coming to the surface. The
Had
light
you
has
did you
won.
see the movie?
No, I didn't. And it's funny because it was on the plane and I chose not to watch it.
Oh
Uh,
my God. I
I have to
chose
be honest, I watch very, very little movies and
yeah,
series and stuff like that because when I do, now especially I get very immersed in, some of them you can get really drawn into and
yeah.
I can't focus and I have a hard time meditating. I really do.
Hmm.
And I've had this experience a few times now since COVID, where I've like started to watch a Netflix series or something that you'd think it'd just be a great thing to watch, and
Yeah.
I cannot get them out of my mind because I guess
Well,
I've made so much room in the hard drive, and then I put all that crap in there, and then
oh,
I literally have to go and put the violet, and so now I learned my lesson because, like I said, it happened at least twice uh,
interesting.
in the last 3 years. So I have to keep it
Huh.
very, very light. I can't watch a lot of detailed movies. I watch history. I'll watch History Channel and I'll watch Ancient Aliens. And that's about as deep as it gets. If I watch the news for more than a few minutes, then that starts playing in my head and playing in my head. And I got to keep the slate clean. It's got to be a blank post-it note. I can't put anything on them.
That's so interesting. I saw this hilarious thing and it said, "Hey, do you want to watch a 10-hour movie?" And the person's like, "Absolutely not." And he goes, "Okay, what if we take a story, break it up into 10 episodes and you binge and watch it all at once?" And he's like, "Damn it, I'm in." You know? I mean,
Yeah.
I've been
But
guilty of that.
but those things, they're all good. They're all part of the human experience.
Yeah, exactly.
But like anything else, it's a trade-off. There's only the brain up here, there's this engine that we have, this brain can only handle
So much input.
so much.
Yeah, it's limited
So
capacity.
for me, I really keep it to a minimum. I didn't even, thank God in Italy, everywhere we went, if there was a TV in the place we went, it only got Italian. There was no English. So there's literally nothing I could watch. I did watch a cooking channel because it looked really good and they were in Italy eating Italian food. But I have no idea and that was the extent of, of anything that I ingested visually through the tube. Uh,
Believe me, I was not going to watch that movie. It came out a while ago, but
yeah.
Magdalene was like, "This one," and I'm like, "Bad Boys, Will Smith, really?" It was very
I
funny.
did have a lot of audiobooks. I have downloaded quite a few. So I had a whole bunch on the phone, and I said, you know what, I'm going to get some of these audiobooks out of the way. So I did spend most of my time, in flight with a book in my ear instead of the TV set.
I like that.
Other than the plane tracker of where we were over the ocean, that was about the only thing
I
I had.
always get such a kick out of that.
I like that thing.
Me too. Me too. All
But,
right, beautiful people. Let's see.
so thank you for joining us this week. And I hope everybody enjoyed Wendy last week and Metatron.
Yeah, I think she
It
bought Mother Maya.
wasn't it wasn't Metatron, it
It
was
was Mother Maya.
Oh,
Mother
Maya.
Maya.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I haven't had a
And
chance to watch the replay.
Is it up yet? Is the replay up, Lynn? I was looking for it.
I don't know. Um,
I
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Did Wendy use our Zoom?
I think it is.
Okay.
Okay,
have to
because I
look
was
for
looking
it.
for, yeah, I was looking for it. I wanted to replay it. She definitely said something that I want to replay back.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's great.
Look,
I'm sure
with
it's-
any message, whether it's me, Lynn, Wayne, or anyone, any channeled message, the more you listen to them, the more you get from them. There are frequencies embedded within the words.
That's true.
Okay, and they've told us this since the beginning. And you always extract something else from it. It's like watching a movie or a show again, right? You see some detail you might have missed the first time.
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to messages, there's tons of healing, alignment energies, frequencies, light. It's all in there. So so it never hurts to replay them, reread them. That's what I've learned.
Yep.
So thank you everyone for joining us. I apologize for being late.
No, honey, you're fine. Listen, we don't go to wakes every day, thank God, but
Yes.
you know, when you-
94-year-old man. So he had a good run. Good run.
God bless him. God bless him.
Well respected. So
All
that's
right,
what.
beloveds. See you all
Take care,
soon.
Tess.
Thank you for being with us.
So long, everyone. Thank you.
Love.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.